Hello. It's Kate Bolt, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I'm back for another Scrapbook Sunday. Hello, and welcome to you. Now, I thought I'd have a bit of fun today with some embossing paste, some reinkers, and create a little bit of mixed media to create a background page, some photographs I'd like to scrapbook. So I hope you'll join along the process with me. Now, this isn't something I do very often. It's quite messy, but it's very much fun. So I'm going to have a go. I think it's been a very long time. It's been years since I've used embossing paste. So, let's try this together. Now, what I do remember about using our Stampin' Up embossing paste, I've got it here, is fabulous stuff, but it does dry very quickly, as in you might need it if you're using it on paper to let it dry or heat dry it with a tool. But when you put it on your masks, and I'm going to be using a mask today, I use this one to try it out. You need a bowl of warm water next to you so that you don't completely wreck your tools. So that, because it does dry quite fast and you end up with a really crusty, chalky, hard kind of debris left behind. So make sure you've got a little bowl of warm water to pop that in. Okay, so I've got my mask, and this one is from the Artistic Mixed Decorative Masks, and they're my favourite ones. You've probably seen me using these on my scrapbook pages along the way quite a lot. This is my favourite one. I've used it tons. Got one with a grid, which is really cool, and then we've got another larger grid type one, and then there's this one and the one I'm using today. Really love them. So that's that one. I do love our decorative masks. So when they come out in the catalogue, I do tend to purchase them because they're a really inexpensive, fun way of adding backgrounds to your cards and to your scrapbooks. And I usually use them with a blending brush and some my ink pad, but today I'm using it with embossing powder. Not embossing powder, embossing paste. Okay, but these are my photos I'm going to do today. I've just printed them out, and they're from a fantastic holiday my husband and I went on last year to the Maldives, and it was just stunningly beautiful. And I want to create some of the colours from there. So I've got my white. We sell two types of embossing paste, a shimmery white and a white. So I've got the white one, which I've just opened. It comes quite a lot in there. And I've got some reinkers. I'm going to colour it. Now I've pulled out Tahitian Tide and Coastal Cabana, and we'll see what we end up with. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be great. My one tip for using embossing paste is I've had a couple of pots before and I've opened it. I've used it once or twice and I've shut the lid up tight and I've put it away. And like 6 months later, I've come back to use it and it's like a brick. I think the tip is to cover the top in some kind of cling film or use it. Don't store it forever because it won't last forever. Well, that's my experience anyway. Use it as you go. So that's what I'm going to do this time. I'm going to use it lots. What does it say under the label? There's a little tab thing there. What does it say? Oh, just about using a palette knife. Keep out of sunlight. You can tint it with classic stamp ink refills. Use a piece of... Oh yeah, loads of tips under there. Lots of tips. Mask, clean the paste from your knife and mask immediately using warm soapy water. Yes, that's exactly my tip. Okay, so I've got it there. What else? I've got my little silicone mat because I'm going to do some mixing. So I'm going to move these out of the way. My background piece is a 12 by 12 piece of basic white cardstock. Everything I'm using is available in my Stampin' Up online shop, so you can find it there. And I'll show you in the catalogue where some of these goodies are. So in the main annual catalogue, the current one is on page 136. And you'll see some of the masks I'm using here. You'll see the embossing paste, and you'll see palette knives too. So yes, embossing paste, you get matte or shimmery white, decorative masks, and then we've got our palette knives. Right, okay, so I'm going to move that out of the way. Now, here's a note for you. I didn't buy the palette knives, and I'm really regretting that now. I need to get some, because I've only used it a few times. Each time I think, oh, why haven't I got the palette knives? They're really cheap. I don't know why I haven't got them, because it's a set. You can just wash them and reuse them for the same thing every time. I'm currently using, which works but is not great, an old loyalty card and a very, very old bone folder, which is super old and covered in all sorts of stuff. So it'll do, but it's not ideal. So, you know, I would recommend it. You don't have to have the palette knives I've got by, but, you know, it would be a lot easier. So I've got my silicone mat, and I'm going to add some embossing paste to it. We're going to do it as we go. We're going to work as we go. So I'm using my old bone folder just to get some out. I'm going to get quite a bit out because I tried it on a piece of cardstock, and interestingly I only had enough on my little kind of card front when I tried my colouring. But we'll build it up as we go, so it'll be easy enough. So I'm going to use the Tahitian Tide. This Tahitian Tide is absolutely gorgeous. Let me show you on a colour sampler. These are our current in colours from 2022 to 2024, these ones here. So this is Tahitian Tide, and we've got these other beautiful colours. Now, they'll be retiring at the end of next month. They'll be gone, and historically we know that as soon as we talk about these things retiring, they go out of stock. If you have the ink pads already, get the re-inkers now, because those are the first things to go, and then your ink pads will last you for as long as you've got that re-inker, which is years. Because once they're gone, and they won't come back. Unless, like, in about 5 or 10 years' time, we have a colour refresh or something. So sometimes they bring a favourite back. But if you like these colours, grab them now. I really like Tahitian Tide. I love all of them. They're really bright and lovely colours. So, okay. That's just a tip for you in case you like this colour I'm going to use. I'm going to add a few drops, 3 or 4 drops of the re-inker onto the embossing paste. I'm just going to work it in. You know, if you bake and you use food colouring, that kind of idea, if you're making icing or something, just keep working it until you get the colour you want. And when it's streaky, or maybe you do. Doesn't really matter. Go for the effect you want. I quite like the streaky effect, or splattery or something. Sorry if my voice is a bit funny. I do feel like I might have a cold coming. Right, so that's quite a pale colour, and I'm looking for something a bit brighter. So I'm actually going to add a little bit more. A little bit goes quite a long way though. And I quite like that it's a bit mottly and not completely blended, and I think I might leave it like that and have it a bit streaky because I want to kind of emulate the ocean or the swimming pool. Right, so I've got my lovely load of embossing paste there. I'm going to bring back my piece of white cardstock, and going from left to right, I'm going to pop my mask on. Now, it's going to be messy. I don't mind. That's the whole point of this layout. It's going to be a bit not all straight lines and clean. Okay, so I am just going to pop it on and work it in. This seems to be easier to use, this old bone folder, than my loyalty card that I was using earlier on. So if I'm using my loyalty card, I'll just scrape over the top like that. Just keep bringing it on there. I don't want to bring it down to the borders of the mask because I'm going to keep repeating the pattern. So I'm going to take it off like that. How beautiful is that? And then I'm going to bring it back down, line it up a bit. This is not going to be, like I said, all clean. So I'm not worried about the odd bits that are coming off the edge. I want some texture on it. You can just push it through. Sorry, it makes a horrible sound. So get it to where you want it to be. You can use your card, it helps a little bit. And bring it off. How nice is that? I am going to come into that bit here. So as I said, it takes a while to dry on the actual paper. But if you want it to dry quicker, get your heat gun out, that will help. Right, so that'll do there. I'm going to bring in to this bottom edge as well. And just bring a load more of this paste in. It's already starting to dry. This is fun. I really like this. I'm going to do a different colour as well, I think, to add some interest in. I mean, you can hold it down with washi, your mask, but I find it kind of sticks a little bit anyway. And also, I'm not too precious about any of it, really. Right, let's pull that back off. Oh, I like that. Okay, I'm going to come over the middle and kind of join it up a little bit. I think that would work. If I bring it down. I wonder if that's a bit better way of doing it. Kind of is. Just going to do the middle bit here. There we go. I'm going to have photos along here and all sorts, so none of it really matters too much. So I've got that one on there. And I might actually put some paper across the bottom as well. So I think I might do that. Okay, right. I am going to put this to the side. I'm not going to put it in my bowl of water just yet because I think I'm going to bring some more paste in. But I do have a piece of wet kitchen roll here. See, that is already dried on there. Can you hear it? That's how kind of fast this stuff dried up. Because I'm going to dip this back into my paste. I'm going to give it a clean. How much fun. Right, where is my paste? It's here. Put a little bit more on. You know what? I'm using a lot of this embossing paste. But if you're making card fronts with it, obviously it's a smaller surface area. Right, I'm going for some Coastal Cabana now. Let's see what this does. This is my favourite colour. But I'm mixing it in a bit. I'm not worried that it's going to mix with my blue at all. Wow. Put quite a lot of re-inker on there for the amount of paste, so I'll get a lovely vivid colour. How cool is that? Right, let's do this. Okay, I'm going to kind of overlap it a little bit. Ooh, I don't really want the edge of my paper in it though. Okay. This is fun. I have no idea what this is going to turn out like. I just have a general idea in my head. But you know what? It's meant to be all kind of messy, so that's fine. off. Oh, pretty. I could have actually brought that over a little bit, couldn't I? Mixed it in, but I think my photos are going to go around there. They kind of go nearer the bottom, so I think I'm going to leave that gap because that makes no odds at all. Put a little bit at the top here. Oh yeah, liking that. Okay, I might just leave that where that's at. So this mask is now gonna go into this bowl of hot water I've got, and I'm gonna sit it right in the bottom. And then I can give it a scrub. I am not quite sure about this paste, if I've completely finished with it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scrape it off, pop it in this bit of plastic bag here. When I finish my layout, I'll either use it for a card front or just bin it. It's only a little bit of paste. It won't last forever. Just scrape off my silicone mat. The silicone mat is super useful for all sorts of things. I mostly use it for gluing things. That's because the glue just peels off it. Right, so that one's going to go in my bowl of water. My little loyalty card as well, and my silicone mat. Right. Little tiny bit of embossing paste in there that I may or may not use this afternoon. Right, let's pop that there. Smooth this and just give this a go. So you can see that if you're good and you have your bowl of water, it just comes straight off. Try not to throw it around the room like me though. My most important piece of equipment I want to make sure it doesn't completely stick to is my silicone mat, because that's the one that I use all of the time. So I'll just leave my little mask in the hot water to soak. I'm just going to remove all the paste with a bit of old kitchen roll, because that's what I have to hand, without going out to my kitchen. Leave everything else in the bowl while we create. Okay, but I have a bit of toilet roll. I have all sorts of things in my craft room. I don't know if you do. Right, okay, so silicone mat is clean. That's the job. Pretty good. Okay, let's move that. We've got that out of the way. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to come back and put some cling film in there, but I'm just going to pop that little one in there just to keep it moist until I finish the job. All right, so a bit more fun time now. Let's bring this back in. This is not dry yet. I'm not concerned. And I've got to decide which way up I want it. And I've also got some paper that I might use. So I was looking at some blue designer series paper because I have a bit of an idea with that as well. And I figured I'd have a look at this. So this is our daisy paper. And it's got some really beautiful daisy prints in it. It's really gorgeous. It's called Fresh as a Daisy. And it has, I've used all of mine. I've just got hardly any left, but it's really beautiful. But the bits I do have left, see this one here, that has a whole load of blue at the top. And I happen to have, see, these are This is how a 12 by 12 sheet looks. How stunning. But I do happen to have a strip that I've cut across the top, and I was using the daisies for something, and this is perfect, I think, for what I want. And I think it's going to go across the bottom of my page, but I'm going to be really brave, and I might even emboss over the top of it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tear. Now, I love a bit of tearing, but I'm rarely brave enough. Tell me, do you tear on your card making or scrapbook layouts? Please tell me. I'm rarely brave enough to tear because I'm never sure if I'm going to like the effect, but I think, you know, we should try. So that's going to go across the bottom of there. I think that's going to go on there. Okay, so that's that. I am going to I'm going to ink those edges. Let me grab the ink pad that I want. So, Tahitian Tide ink pad. So that's the one that matches the re-inker that I've used. This is kind of a Barbie blue colour, but that's all good. I'm going to grab one of these and I'm going to pick some ink up. And I'm just going to take away the white edge. You can use a finger dauber, blending brush, anything you've got. Kind of reminds me of the ocean. Kind of gives it that distressed kind of look, but also takes away the white core, which is what I'm after. Okay, so that's now like that. Still deciding which side I'm going to do it. I might do it this way. I think that's what I want. So that's the way it's going to be. All right, that's going to go on there. I'm actually glue that down right now. And I'm going to use my seal, I think. I'm going to make it all blend in with the embossing. Ooh, stuck into me. Okay. So that is already 12 by 12 because that's the size our paper comes in. So that's super handy. That is that. Now I might come back in with that mask and do a little bit more embossing up along the bottom. So let me grab a wipe if I've got one. I've had this sat in that bowl of water because I thought I'd finished with it. So let's give it a wipe. So I don't get water all over everything. I mean, this will come off. You just need to give it a bit more of a wash. As long as you've soaked it in hot water, you should be okay. Okay, so that's now dry. I'm going to continue and use that bit of embossing paste that I kept. So what I'm going to do is bring this down here. So I match it up here. Grab that embossing paste. It's all mixed in together. I'm not bothered about that. Right, let's use it. Well, waste not, want not, right? So a bit of that, and we'll just bring it. Where's my silicone sheet? Here it is. Bring it down over the paper to kind of make it all blend in as one thing. Oh, I like this. It's kind of making this bottom colour turn a bit lilac-y, almost. Ooh. And it doesn't really matter. It's just a background. So if it's, you know, if it's not quite what you imagine, it doesn't matter at all. I'm going to bring a bit over the side here as well. This layout, this page, it may take longer than the hour I've allocated of this video, obviously, but you know, we'll do what we can, and then I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so there we go. Let's just do that bit as well. Nice. Okay, I think that's good enough for what I want. Let's see how it turns out, shall we? I'm going to put that mask back in the water. I am going to clean off my bit of bone folder there. Clean off my silicone mat. Job's a good one. Right. I don't use baby wipes very much in my craft room. Well, not on my stamps anyway, but they seem to be your friend when it comes to embossing paste. I think I've used that embossing paste now. I'll get rid of that. Okay, so here we go. I've got a big white patch at the top, but that's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to come back into it again, don't worry. Okay, so now I've got my photographs. I'm going to let this dry a little bit. I might get my heat tool out. Make sure my hands are dry. Got my photographs, and I'm going to pop these on and see where I want them to go. I am a little slightly bothered about this, but I have an idea. So let's cut these up. Now, if you're wondering how I print my photos, I sometimes use a company to print my photos, like most of us, but I tend to scrapbook what I feel like at the time. And I found over the years that if I order a certain amount of photographs or a certain selection of photographs, by the time I come to scrapbook them, because you'd order quite a few, like a whole packet of 20 or whatever, 30, they're not really the ones that I'm feeling the vibe to scrapbook. And I end up actually having a big stack of photographs that I'm not keeping or using really. And I want to scrapbook something else. So I found it's not as cost effective as I thought. So I have my own little Canon selfie printer. They're not hugely expensive. The prints are obviously more expensive to print than going to a company to do it. But if I'm only printing 1 or 2 out at a time, I find it's not that expensive at all. And it works for me. And it also means I can print different sizes. So these are 3x4. And that's what I'm going to use today. And I have decided that I'll probably mat them. And I'm going to put them down here somewhere like this on the page. Like that. But before I do any more, and before I heat it, I am going to do some more ink work. So I'm still not happy about this white bit at all. I might come back in and just put some blue in, because otherwise I won't be happy with it. I would say work it until you're done. But if you're bored watching me paste, you can just fast forward, and that's fine. Some people like to watch scrapbooking videos and just have them on in the background while they're doing other things. So maybe it doesn't really matter. I tend to do that a lot with videos, to be fair. All right. Okay. Last bit of inking up using the stencil, I think. So I'm going to bring it here. Going to get that last bit of paste that I had left on in that little plastic bag. Grab my bone folder again and just go for it. And then I will have used it all up and happy days. Because when we look at a page, especially if it's got text on it, especially this kind of in the UK and this part of the world, we tend to read from left to right. So if we're looking at something from interest, our eye takes us this way and down the page. So it feels a little bit odd to have a big white space at the top, and I hadn't decided which way around the page was going when I did it initially. Maybe that's the answer. So bring it down a bit, and then we'll have all this kind of merging in. Is there any left in here? Oh dear. It's very good fun doing this. Right. If you don't like the idea of embossing paste and creating the texture, you don't like anything that looks slightly messy, I would suggest maybe creating a similar background by using the same mask or a mask that you like, and don't use the embossing paste if it's not your thing. Just use your ink pad, your re-inker, and a blending brush to create a nice background. I do that quite a lot. So yeah, I would suggest that alternative. Whatever you like. As you can see, it dries quite fast, but it just all comes off. There we go. Happy days. Okay, so now I've got rid of that big white space at that edge, and I'm going to go in for a bit more ink, and I think I'm liking the Coastal Cabana bit. So let's find a pen. That's Pool Party. What have I done with it? There it is. Pool Party is quite useful. So I've got Tahitian Tide in the Stampin' Right markers. These are the water-based pens. So I've got Tahitian Tide. We've got, I picked up Pool Party by mistake, but I thought that would be good. And I've got the Coastal Cabana. So they're quite a good colour combination for this, I think. And I'm going to do this trick that I did. I think I did it on a layout the other day. So it's got two ends. It's got a fine tip and a brush tip. And I'm going to go in with my brush tip and do some ink splattering using the edge of the lid. As you can see, it's going quite a long way, so just protect your work surface. And I'm just going to go around and give it a bit of a splatter all over the top of everything. And I might actually, to get bigger blobs, I might come in with a re-inker and a paintbrush. So this one must be Paul. Oh no, this is Coastal Cabana. So let's put something like that down the bottom here. I've never managed to damage a pen doing it, because that was my first worry. So this is the pool party. Let's see what that looks like. Oh yeah, I'm liking the pool party. Oh, and I tell you what's nice about it is the embossing paste isn't quite dry, so it's kind of giving it a bit. It's bleeding slightly. The ink splatters, which is a really nice effect. Yeah, I think I'm going to see. Let's just get a paintbrush. Right. So you can use your water painter brush if you want to, because they're super handy for the paintbrush part. But to be fair, I think, yeah, I use the water painter because I've got the lid. So I'm going to use the same kind of technique, or you could just use a paintbrush. So I'm going to come in with the Coastal Cabana. So obviously, the best part about creating this page is the process. The fun part. Now this has got had water in it quite a lot, so I'm just going to dry it out a bit on my hand. This is a water chamber and a paintbrush at the end. It's great for painting and techniques, but I'm just using the paintbrush, to be honest. I don't really want to add any water. And I'm just going to try it on my scrap. This is the one where I was trying to see what the colours look like through the mask. But yeah, that is good, isn't it? That is a good one. So let's carry on. Just gives me a bit more colour. So I have put a few drops of the re-inker onto a stamp block, an acrylic block, and I'm using the paintbrush and the lid in the same way as I use the pen, just to get all this lovely splattering. I'm trying to create the seaside, I think. The ocean. There we go. I'm loving it. I could go on forever. So I'm just going to rinse this off. You can just rinse it under cold water or warm water. You can wash your lid and all is well. Because it's pure re-inker, so you definitely need to wash it. And I will go and put mine under running water when I'm done. Okay, so that's done. Yes, happy days. Right, okay. So this needs to dry. I'm going to get my heat tool out just to speed it up a little bit. And we can see where we're at. It's a bit noisy. So you see my, I think that's enough just to get it going. You see my process today, because, you know, this page wasn't designed. I've just decided to make it. So you kind of see how my brain works as I go along, if that's any help whatsoever. I've got my 2 photographs that are going to go on there. and I need something just to mat them onto. And I think I'm going to go with, I might even cut this page slightly, but I think I'm going to go with, let's see what I've got. Have I got anything with like lines on? Something really easy and plain because there's so much going on. Let's have a look. Yes. Yeah. So this piece is a nice big ledger piece. This is from the eclectic pack that we've got in the annual catalogue at the moment. 48 sheets. I have used it constantly. You might not have seen me use it very much. You've probably seen me use it a bit. But I have just made nearly all of my swaps for my Stampin' Up convention using these gorgeous papers. There are so many different designs. I'm just after this ledger today, and I'm only going to use a tiny bit of it, I think. I am going to add it to my photo. So let's see, how big is this photo? I had two, so it should be roughly 3 by 4 inches. Now, normally I just cut around it and I don't measure, but I just want to tell you, it's not quite 3 inches. It's like just about 2 3/4 inches by just under 4. So if I cut a piece out that's 3 by 4, will it be big enough? I'm not sure. Might need to be slightly larger. Oh no, that's pretty good. So let's go 4. Twice. Yes, that's what I want. I just want a little outline of a plain piece showing, but it just wanted something on there. Looks like a piece of notepaper, doesn't it? So we'll use those. Right, I'm going to mat that using my seal glue. I haven't thought of a title for this page. I need something about the holiday. So let's pop that on there. You can just see that nice mat around the edge with the lines. Oh, it was such a stunning location. It was just like paradise. I don't think I've ever seen anywhere so pretty. Right, so let's pop that one on there as well. Oops. It'd be good if it was straight. The only problem with the seal is that it doesn't, it's not temporary and it doesn't give you any wriggle room. Oh, that's annoying. You might have seen me using temporary adhesive, which I do use quite a lot of actually. Is this piece big enough? Yeah, just about. I tend to pop my temporary adhesive on and then go back when everything's placed correctly. But I know where I want this to go, so I'm going to straight in with it. There we go. Okay. So I know that these are going to go on here, that way around, like so. And that's going to go straight on there. Now, this will dry. You can see it's a little bit buckled because we've got moisture in there, but that will all dry and then it'll go flat. And I'm going to put it on a piece of background cardstock as well. So that's going to go on there like that. And now I just need to think of a title and some embellishments and what I want on the page. And maybe bring in another colour. Thinking of some flowers. But let's have a think next. Okay. So, adventure. It's about an adventure. But I don't know. So I think I'm going to get my temporary adhesive out. If I can find it. Here we go. So I think my placement of my photos is where I want it to be. So I'm just going to put a little bit down the middle. It may not even stick very well because it's still wet. And I think I'm going to leave a gap. Like this. No, I am going to make a whole album for this page. There is no doubt. For this, sorry. I'm going to make a whole album for this holiday. There is absolutely no doubt. It was just the most beautiful place, and it was so beautiful. And we had so much fun. I definitely need to put more on there. So I will add this. This is just going to be the first page. That should go in the back there. I think so. So that's going to go in there like that. Now I've got to think about what I'm going to put on here. But I did pull out a stamp set. I pulled out the Paper Florist dies, and I pulled out this one. So I might just use this for my title. This Happy. So let's have a look. If I stamp Happy, let's see what that turns out like. Got some basic white card here. What do I do with that acrylic block that I was using? There it is. Let's just wipe that one off. There we go. So let's bring in the Tahitian Tide. I'm thinking a nice bright pink would work very well. So either this Tahitian Tide or Melon Mambo or Sweet Sorbet. Let's get the Melon Mambo out. I've been using this a lot this week, this colour. All right. Actually, I made a card for Coffee and Cards using these colours. And it was totally inspired by this holiday. So I might make some of these flowers and put them on there. This is inspired by frangipani flower, which I saw when we were on holiday there. And I used the Paper Florist dies to create it for a card. And this was my practice card front for Coffee and Cards. So I think it might go on there because it really reminds me of the holiday. I wonder if I can use this piece because I made the card. And I don't have to remake it, but then you wouldn't see it, would you? You wouldn't see how I make it. I will show you though. I'm going to use that on here. I think this would be a nice embellishment. And I will show you how I made the flower. It was very easy to make. Right, Happy. So I do my stamp cleaner is the thing. Did I clean my stamp? Here it is. So deciding on my title, which is just going to be Happy, because this is going to be in an album full of other photographs and lots of story to do with this holiday. So I shall put the date on. Right, so I've got to decide if I want a pink Happy or a Tahitian Tide Happy. Or maybe we should be going in with the other colour entirely. Let's have a look. Coastal Cabana. Just makes me want to sing that Barry Manilow song. I will not sing it. You do not want to hear me sing. I might get copyrighted, although I don't think anyone could recognise what I'm singing, because I'm not very good at singing. So we've got to decide, are we going for the Melon Mambo, the Coastal Cabana, or the Tahitian Tide? And I'm really leaning towards this colour because this is kind of slightly a bit much, and this one's just going to blend in. So I think I'm going to go with this. I'm going to grab my scissors and we're going to cut it out. Okay, here we go. Easy peasy. Now I could cut this out using, just to have it on a white rectangle. I could cut it out using a stitch die, a tag, anything like that. I just want to cut around the actual word though. So that's what I'm going to do, but you don't have to if you don't like this kind of detail cutting out. I quite like it. I like to leave a little gap as well. I love using stamps in my scrapbook page. So I'm going to cut out the H separately. The trick is to have really sharp scissors. These Stampin' Up! Snip scissors are great for it. Any really sharp little scissors. And don't move the scissors when you're cutting. Just move the piece of card. And that makes it so much easier to cut it out. That is my tip. So I had quite a lot of fun playing with all the embossing paste and the re-inkers and the splattering today. It's been great. I do all sorts of different pages though. I don't kind of stick to one thing. I like clean layouts with a lot of white space. I like ones with a lot popped on there. I like very basic ones. I like a lot of paper sometimes not. Occasionally I'll do things like I've done today. I think it's great just to experiment, to be honest. One thing I learned early on when I started scrapbooking was there's no rules. There's no right. There's no wrong. And I do remember I was scrapbooking somewhere in my early days of scrapbooking, and the person that was hosting it, I was making a scrapbook page and I was using, what was I using? I was using pattern paper for my background and a little bit of cardstock, but mostly pattern paper. Now this was back in the early 90s or 2000s, around that generation. And I was doing this, and the person hosting it came up and said, oh, a very nice layout, but you know, the right way is to have your cardstock as your base. You can add in a little bit of pattern paper, and that was the right way of doing it apparently. And I went away feeling that my layout wasn't very good, and I didn't want to have just cardstock with a little bit of pattern paper that day. I wanted the pattern paper to be my base, but she told me at that point in time that's not what it was. I've since learned, and you look at any scrapbook page today and a lot of people are using pattern paper for their base. I mean, the whole point is you do what you want. You make the layout to look how you want it to look, and don't listen to anybody who tells you it's wrong. There is no wrong. Do what you like. It's fun. It's all about having fun. So there we go. I've got my happy, which we were very happy, as you could tell. I've got my big flower that's meant to look like that. Not hibiscus, it was like a frangipane flower. And I might just put this up here. I'm just deciding what I want. And then something down here. And I'm probably going to come in with some other bits of foliage, but I haven't quite decided. So, first of all, I'm going to do some stamping. Right, let's bring in this stamp set again. And I'm going to look at all these lovely ones. This is called Love This Moment. It's absolutely perfect for memory keeping and cards as well. But this has got Happy With You, details, notes, highlights, who, the story, say cheese, never forget this moment, memories, I love this picture, you and me, where and when. It's got a grid for writing on, loads of little icons, including a camera, this big smile. It's just perfect, isn't it? For loads of things. So I think Happy With You would be ideal, if I can find it. Is it this one? Happy With You. Let's take that one off there. And I'm going to create some little kind of tags. And I think less is more on some of these layouts, but because I've got such a busy background, I don't need to put too much on here. So I am going to put Happy With You here, like that. I am going to wipe that one with my stamp cleaner. Happy With You. Put it there. And memories. Memories would be great. Love This would be good as well. Never forget. And highlights. Don't need that one. I'm looking for memories. This moment. Memories. Huzzah. Found it. Right. So we've got Happy With You in the Melon Mambo. I am going to do another one in I Love This in Coastal Cabana. And never forget in Tahitian Tide, because these are the 3 colours I'm using today. That's a bit skew-if. Let's do that again. Never forget. And then, what's this one? Memories. I think I'll do that one in the pink. Why not? Right, just clean those ones all off so we don't leave them all mucky. And I'm just going to cut them out. So I'm going to this event. I've probably been talking about it on my YouTube videos for the last week or so. I'm going to a Stampin' Up convention next week. I'm super excited about it. And something us demonstrators like to do when we all gather in our hundreds and thousands is swap. So we'll create a project. Ooh, I think that's too small. Duplicate it by however many number of times we want it duplicated by. I've just made about 50 this time. Usually I make about 100, but it's a bit more of a complicated swap I'm making. So I've made 50. I think that needs to be a bit narrower. And then you go off and you swap with everyone else in the room who's also swapping. It's optional. Lots of people do and lots of people don't swap. But if you do, you swap with the other people swapping. And so therefore you come home. I'm going to come home with 50 different, just deciding what I'm doing with this, 50 different projects for my inspiration. So I'm quite excited, but it also means I'm currently in a production line and my craft room is full of stuff from all my swaps. So I've got memories. So guess what I'm doing when I have finished this video for you? I am going to clear out my craft room so I can carry on with my swaps, because I got to the point where I've crafted myself into a complete corner. Have you ever done that? So I've also managed to get glue all over my trimmer. It's all going on right now. So let's just cut these little rectangles of phrases up. And these are going to be my embellishments for the page. And then I'll show you how I created the flower. You can see it on my coffee and cards on YouTube this week. I made 2 very different cards and I cut out quite a lot of flowers using the paper florist dies. So you can see, you can make any kind of flower you like, really. And you can see that here on my channel. I want them very little, these little labels, if you like. Right, let's try what I've got. They're all kind of different sizes. I'm not worried about that. Okay, here we go. We have got happy, we've got our page, we've got a nice pop of that pink. I've got happy with you, which is not a very clean one. I've got I love this. I've got memories. I think I'm going to put them down the sides. Never forget. I might re-stamp that one, it's a bit grubby. I was not very careful. Too busy chatting. I think I want one more on each side. And we'll be almost done. So what I'm going to do is start sticking it down. I need a bit more glue behind here because you can see it's warped a little bit through all the glue, through all the, sorry, the embossing paste. So let's use my seal on there. I've now got seal on embossing paste on there. That's it. Take it off. Lovely. I'm going to grab another piece of card. Oh, I know that I have some in 12 by 12. Let's have a look. Because you can buy the in-colour card selections in 12 by 12. So when I first bought mine, oh, have I used all? Oh no, I've got plenty of it. That's good. So I've got the Tahitian tied in a 12 by 12 sheet, which is grand. I'm going to pop that on there. I'm going to back it like that. So before I stick any more of these pieces on, I'm going to cut a bit off it. And I think I'm going to cut it off at the top here. So I need it to be, I think I'm just going to cut 1/4 inch off. So if I bring my arm out on my lovely trimmer, I need it to be 11 3/4 inches instead of 12. So I'll just bring it up to here. Make sure it's in right. I'm not worried about cutting embossing paste, that doesn't matter. Take off 1/4 inch. I'm going to do the same on this side. 11 3/4. And this is going to help frame the page, but also as just an added bonus, it's going to help with any of that warping. So that's going to go on there like that. I like that. I really like that now. That kind of really frames it. So let's do it. Now, I think I'm going to move these. And I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to use my Tombow because I know that it's going to help me stick it down really well. Whatever I've done with my Tombow, I am anyway. Here it is. So I'm going to put some across the top. It's full, it's just a bit blocked up. I haven't used it for a bit. And I'm not worried that it might buckle a little bit because the whole thing has the embossing paste on anyway, doesn't it? Right, let's pop it on. And the good thing about the liquid glue is that it sticks super well, but it also gives you a couple of seconds to place it before it dries completely solid. Literally a couple of seconds. There you go. And what I'm going to do when I finish the layout is I'm going to pop it in the page protector, and that will help flatten it out, but that's already getting quite a lot flatter. Nicely. Like that. Excellent. Happy days. Right. I'm thinking about popping these up on some foam pads. Let's do it. I've got some here. So I'm going to put them in the middle, which means if I want to tuck things down the edges of my photographs, it gives me some room. I like to use the edge pieces of my sticky foam pads up, and this is a great way of doing it. There you go. So use them all up. They tear apart. You don't need to cut them if you're feeling lazy like me. There we go. How is that? There we are. So that's going on there. I'm going to pop my happy here. I think I'm going to just glue it down. I'm going to have it kind of overlapping my photograph. So more Tombow. And it may take a while to all stick properly because I'm gluing onto the embossing paste, which is raised, and it's kind of slightly warped just for now. But it will eventually all glue nicely. So I need to make a whole album now of this beautiful trip that we took, and I'm really looking forward to that. Currently I'm actually a couple of years ago, we had a fantastic trip away to somewhere else. We went to California and we took the children and we went and did San Francisco and Yosemite National Park and all of these things. And it was so amazing. We absolutely had a ball. Went to Alcatraz and did all those nice things. So I'm currently, that's where I'm at. I'm doing my California album. But, you know, it's nice to mix it up and get these trips documented so you can look back at them, because honestly, how often are you looking back at your trips on your phone? All of your trips? I mean, that's where we keep our photographs these days, isn't it? On our phones. So yeah, it's fun to get them scrapbooked. Sticky to, oh, I haven't taken the backing off that one. That might be why it's not sticking. And yeah, this flower was one that was there. So let's do this. Memories. So I have no idea how long this video is because I didn't look at my clock when I started recording. Let's hope it's not hours long. I normally take about an hour. And then I call it, because, you know, everyone has their limits for watching. Aww. Love this. So I've got 3 going down that side. That's not straight, is it? I think because I have offset my photo, it's kind of giving me that illusion of, are these straight? Are they not? So there's that one there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back off screen and stamp some more of these lovely phrases out and put them down this side. I'll do that afterwards, and I will share the finished page on all my social media, so definitely look out for it. I'm just going to see if I've got any little things I can scatter on there. What have I got? This is my embellishment box. All of my goodies, all of the things I keep in there. I've got some of these beautiful pearls. I've been using a lot of these, which would really go for a tropical island, wouldn't they? Mine are in strips because I cut loads of strips up for a class I was holding. They're called they're called the flat adhesive backed pearls. So they'll definitely work on there. What else have I got? I think I've got some of the pastel sequins. These are pretty. These are the right colours, but definitely not quite what I'm after. Loads of rhinestone gems. I've got butterflies. I have got these. These are this year's in colours. No, they're not. They're not this year's in colours, are they? They are from the rainbow adhesive back dots. So they would kind of work. Oh, there's some of the sequins that I was thinking of. The pastel adhesive back sequins. I think I'm going to use some of those. Okay. So let's use some of these. These are a bit large. I'm not sure how they'll work or if they're a bit too garish. The little ones would look nicer, I think. They're not garish, but just on that page, I think that maybe the smaller ones are a bit more subtle. And then let's pull these out. Okay, so those are the pastel adhesive back sequins. I've got a couple of the glimmery ones that are in the Christmas winter catalogue there. But I think I'll go with these. These are current and perfect. Oh, I've got glue all over my hand. Well, it's not bad considering I've been doing loads of inky stuff. Right, these are just the right colour, aren't they? And just a little bit of shimmer. So This is my take your pick tool and I love it for this job. Just put a couple down. I might just scatter these all over the page. Put some down here. One down there, kind of brings that up, and then some down this side actually instead, I think. Ooh, stuck. I think I'll use all these ones up on this little strip. Ooh. That one. Move this one. Up here, that's a better placement. Oh, it's stuck to the embossing paste. Of course it has. Got some smaller ones in there. There's some pink ones. I wonder if what they look like. Am I the only one that plays around endlessly with their kind of placement of where they put their little gems? Might be. I'm not sure about that one. Bring it down there, like that. So I've got 1, 2. I think I'm going to add another one of these. There. Got 1, 2 of those. I like things to be in threes. Add that one there. It just feels more pleasing. I think naturally it is. I'm going to bring another one of these down here to make 3 here, and then bring a pink one over here. And then I'll need, I've got 3 here, but I'm going to maybe make that pink one. There we go. So I've got all my kind of little scattering, but I do like these and I think they deserve a place too. One there. One there. And one over there. Okay, good. I'll stop procrastinating over placement of gems because, you know, you have to stop somewhere. So this is my layout for today. I will add a date down here so that it'll go in my album with the whole story of the trip, but I'll add the date so we know what that is. And I'm going to add some more of these little labels here to balance it out, but I hope you like it. I don't know if I can bring that in. I hope you like my page. The reason I'm on this kind of surface is just to save my table from all that ink and all the mixed media I've used. I hope you've really enjoyed it. It's been a bit of fun. It's been a whole process. The page has evolved completely and I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you're inspired to give it a go with the embossing paste, all the products that I use in my videos are in my Stampin' Up! shop now, and the link for that is in the description box down below. So happy Scrapbook Sunday to you. I hope it hasn't been too long, and you can always fast forward. And I will see you next week for another page for my album, and also I'm here on Tuesday for coffee and cards. So take care everyone, have an amazing Sunday, and I will see you soon. Thanks so much. Bye bye.